Hey, warriors, what's up? Welcome back to the Cleanse Heal Ignite podcast with your hostess, Dr. Diane Kaiser, and our moderator, Paula, Chief Director of the ministry. And we've been working behind the scenes for the last few days and getting this information prepared for you guys because there's a lot that's going to be changing in the peptide space in 2026. I've been talking about it on my Instagram, on my social media platforms, and our emails. If you are not yet subscribed to our email list, I highly recommend that you do. Paula, if you could put on the ticker below how they would opt in to receive our emails. We send about 3 to 4 a week, and we share things we cannot share out in social media, as well as this podcast is all about sharing what we can't share on YouTube because we would get banned. I don't know. There's a lot of people who are able to speak about things that people like myself get banned for. I can't talk about enemas or green juicing because I get those videos taken down on YouTube, but people keep talking about vaccines and the danger of them on YouTube, and they're fine. So who knows what the algorithms are these days. The link to get on the email list is dianekaiser.com/updates. And you guys will be first in the know for all different things, like huge specials that are happening right now. I'm not sure if they extended it, but BioLongevity is one of the companies that we've been promoting for a while now with Jane Campbell. They were forced to sell out all of their injectables, all injectable peptides. Injectables is a word that can get thrown out there that all sounds bad, or peptides, have been associated with being lizard venom. They're not all bad. So just know that if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that injectables don't necessarily mean Botox and fillers and Ozempic. It could mean peptides that are injection based, right? But the good news for you is that because J. Campbell was forced to sell out, liquidate all of their injectable peptides, you guys can now get them for 40% off. If the sale is still happening, Paula, if you can confirm that, that'd be great. And then we also have coupon codes we've been sharing with everybody for how to get an additional 15% off so you can stock up on the things that are no longer going to be available on their website. This is part of what I'm going to be talking about today. If you use peptides or have even thought about using them, this episode matters. I titled it The Peptide Shutdown, What Happens Next, and What You Must Do Now, what the Safe Drugs Act means for your favorite peptides and GLPs before prices skyrocket and access tightens. Right now, behind the scenes, the FDA and new legislation like the Safe Drugs Act are quietly shutting down public peptide access. You might not see that now because you're seeing on social media possibly, and everybody and their crunchy mom is starting to recommend peptides like they're an expert, but they just started last month and they've signed up for some sort of a MLM and they're recommending them to everybody because it worked for them. What's happening right now is they're cracking down on people like that who are promoting MLMs, and a lot of them are actually under massive scrutiny, are probably going to be shut down, and or the owners of these MLM peptide companies have felonies and they're probably going to be taken to jail. So major peptide suppliers are being forced to stop selling injectables like J, also GLP-1 peptides like and GLP-3 peptides like retatrutide, as I'm going to talk about today, are under intense scrutiny, and lawsuits are tied to drugs like Ozempic. They're accelerating a full-scale crackdown. And so we're going to talk today on this episode about what does that mean. It means, just along the short of it, is higher prices, medical doctor-only access. And I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a doctor of traditional naturopathy. I cannot prescribe. So a lot of companies that are out there that are starting to pop up left and right, one of which I may be recommending soon to you guys, because if you still want your GLPs, you will still be able to get them through compound pharmacies. But many peptides are going to disappear entirely. So today I'm going to break down exactly what's happening, what's changing super fast, and what you need to understand right now to stay informed and safe. And then also how to take action and get peptides at decent prices now and to stock up if you have the financial ability to do so, because you can do that. You can store them in your fridge or your freezer, and you can use them at a later date. So Paula, if you could text me and just let me know if they're still running that special. I'm not sure if they stopped. January 5th was the last I heard they were running the special until, that is BioLongevity Labs. I don't think that they are still running the special, sounds like, but you guys still can purchase peptides using my discount code on dianekaiser.com/peptides at any company like BioLongevity Labs, who now no longer can be selling injectables. Paula, if you could text me to see, just go to the website, BioLongevity Labs, and see if you even see injectables on there, because From what I understand, they were forced to stop selling them as of Q1 2026, but I'm not sure exactly if that means they have until March or if they needed to liquidate all of their supplies by a certain date. This is the ambiguity that we're dealing with in the peptide space, you guys. There's one of the biggest peptide companies that I know of outside of who we recommend, Limitless, who I think is still under, they're safe. We're safe right now, but we just never know. We've been talking about this for the last couple of years since I started bringing in peptides into the regenerative medical space of the aspect of how I help you guys. But what's happening is another company that's huge, and they've been in the peptide space for a long time. They're likely going to get shut down very soon, and the owner does have a felony because of what they've been saying. I mean, this is the thing. It doesn't make this person a bad person. It must be and might be because a lot of people are saying not even the wrong things, but if the FDA or the CDC or any of these three-letter type organizations that really profit from our illness see that there are people like myself or other peptide companies that are making promises, or maybe not even making promises, but maybe they're even saying things like BPC is known to reduce tissue inflammation and to repair tendon injuries, right? Okay, well, we might be able to say that now, or we might have been able to say that last year and there were no big issues. But the moment that these three-letter type organizations start stepping in and stealing peptides from the research space, which means that you no longer have access, and they make them the only source for them, which means marking up the prices 5 to 15 times more for access. You can only get them through a medical doctor. They start adding a whole bunch of preservatives and toxins in there. The medical doctors who are prescribing them to you may prescribe too much and overdose you and not actually address the root cause issue, why you had issues with losing weight, burning fat, obesity, overweight, insulin resistance, diabetes, and everything that's associated with these diseases. They are not going to work with you because they only have 6 to 7 minutes with you for each appointment, right? They're not going to talk to you about the root cause reasons why you have insulin resistance to begin with, which as one huge example would be people who are using corticosteroids and antihistamines and prednisone, immune system regulating drugs that do nothing but just turn off the body's ability to perceive there's a problem here, there's inflammation, there's a bug, there's a pathogen, there's a poison. Our body, our immune system is designed to kick out all different kinds of immunoglobulins so that your body knows what to do with it. And that would be IgG, IgE, IgA. Those are things like food sensitivities, chemical sensitivities, and food intolerances and allergies. So people go to the doctor thinking, okay, I might be having a reaction to something. I have something on my skin. I have gut issues. I have autoimmune disease. They go to their doctor, their medical doctor, and all they're going to offer you is an allergy test. That's an IgE or a mediated issue. But specifically IgE is allergies. IgE is intolerances, and IgG is sensitivities. They're not going to look at sensitivities. They're not going to look at intolerances. We look at that when we look at our patient's stool analysis, which is a very comprehensive approach to see what's going on at the root, so that you won't need corticosteroids, you won't need antihistamines, you won't need immune system modulating medications like prednisone, which don't address the issue, and then, by the way, will cause your insulin resistance, which breaks the whole cascade, and then you end up feeling like I'm exhausted, I can't lose weight, I get sick often, I don't sleep well, and then they come in with the rescue drug like Ozempic or like Wegovy or Mounjaro, and say that it cures everything because it does address one of the root cause issues, which is insulin resistance. So I'm going to talk more in this episode too about the root causes, why you get sick to begin with, why you feel like you can't lose weight, and which peptides that you can take advantage of right now before they're pulled from access, public access as research peptides, and they become medications. So I want to talk about all these things today because we're still seeing, in the holistic space where members of our ministry, would you guys join us anytime? You can come in there and ask me anything, or my team. We have a team of clinicians that show up to support you for 1.5 to 2 hours every Wednesday after this show in our membership group. It's currently only $97 and you get a whole bunch of resources. But specifically, if you wanted to talk to a doctor and ask them anything, you're going to pay like $500 just to sit with them for 30 minutes for a doctor with the caliber and expertise and certifications like myself. And I don't say that to impress anybody. I say to impress upon you that it's important to take charge of your own health now more than ever, to be your own best advocate. The best healthcare is self-care. And if you're still looking for the shiny object or the quick fix, you're not taking care of yourself at the root level. You're working with the branches of the tree, but that will never fix the problem. And the issue that you think you're fixing today will become possibly another issue later on. Worse, cancer, autoimmune disease, etc., because obesity and overweight issues is a hormone resistance problem. It's a cell signaling issue, which causes inflammation. And I'm going to get into that today. So you're not going to fix, the propensity or, possibly you have cancer in your family or heart disease. That doesn't mean you're going to get it. That doesn't mean that you're genetically predisposed to having it just because your parents had it. It means that there's something inside of you pathogenically, because we inherit our parents' bugs, we inherit our parents' toxic burden, and we inherit our parents' lifestyle. So if your parents didn't really exercise or prioritize exercise, and they ate a bunch of food all throughout the day, and they didn't leave 4 hours in between each meal and just snacked all the time, that's going to create insulin resistance. That's going to create diabetes. And then you're going to say, I got type 2 diabetes because my mom and my dad had it, right? So it's all of these things that we need to address. And in order for you to be your own best healthcare advocate, healthcare is self-care. It's to understand how we create our own disease and what you're not being taught, right? So you might not like what I talk about, because I'm all about handing you the baton and you running with it. I'm not here for a quick fix, although I do know some of these peptides can very quickly make you feel better and assist you so that you don't feel like you crave the same crap as you did before that's causing the problems to begin with, like insulin resistance, right? So we're not here for the silver bullet, although sometimes I do know that peptides can help bridge the gap between what you want and what you should be doing versus what you're doing now in terms of lifestyle habits and choices that you make. Oftentimes, a lot of people are eating their emotions, right? They're eating a lot of sugar or carbohydrates. They call it garbage, or alcohol or medications or drugs or people or porn or social media. They're binging based on whatever neurotransmitter deficiencies that they might have, that these things help them escape from or feel better because of. So I talk all about that in the membership group. If you guys would like to join us for just $1 after this, it's dianekaiser.com/VIP. Now let's get into it, because the Safe Drugs Act is something that a lot of people don't realize. Regulatory tightening isn't theoretical. It's happening now with warnings and legal actions and a huge legislative push. But people think because Trump has been doing certain things, like there is some victories happening, and this is how psychopaths work, right? Or narcissists. They will give you a few pieces of good news, but a large percentage of it is the bad news that they're not going to show you, right? They'll make you, they'll create this level of trust that you think that they're on your side, but then other things will happen later on, months down the road or behind the scenes, that are not in your favor. So many widely used peptides right now, they're not FDA approved. And what's happening is a lot of people think, okay, well, if they're not FDA approved, then they're not good for me. They're just research peptides and therefore they're not safe. You're going to hear a lot of MDs talking about that. You're going to hear a lot of holistic doctors, even like somebody we had in a podcast recently who's very open about women's health. And we're on the same page about a lot of things, like mammograms are terrible for women and what to do instead. She talked about on her social media how research peptides are a terrible idea. I think that's throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So today I want to cut through all the confusion about what's important when you are picking a peptide company, and where to go and how to prepare for what is coming this year. So let's get into the slides. I want to first just start sharing. If this is the first time you've ever been here on the Cleanse Heal Ignite podcast, hello everybody. I'm Dr. Diane Kaiser, and I've been doing this for a while. Here are several of my certifications in education. I take a very well-rounded approach to helping humans heal and to learn what is making them sick in their environment. So we practice environmental medicine, we practice holistic approaches, we look at foundations, and we look at you like a tree. That's why our logo is the tree of life. It's Cleanse Heal Ignite, the tree of life. So I've been a personal trainer, yoga teacher. I was trained in 2012, which is when I started running functional diagnostic labs to help you guys understand and understand what things are making you sick to begin with, how EMFs are poisoning you, what toxins are living in the body, where they live in the body, the proper way to detox, how to move your body properly, what kind of, your body chemistry, your body's genes, which is really up to 5% of your destiny, not the large percent. I still think people taking genetic tests and prioritizing those as the main decision-making tools, they're still misled. I think, their environment is the single greatest reason why they get sick or don't. And so we have a lot of people who are experiencing high levels of mold. We see that in our toxins analysis for our patients. Everybody has mold at this point. It's not if and or when, it's everybody. So I've looked at a lot of these different things to help you guys really get to the root of why your unique signature of what makes you sick to begin with. And yes, while there are peptides for, let's say, mold or weight loss or brain cognition or sleep, yes, there's a peptide for that. I do have that in several of the guides that I've written for you guys in my peptide power course. There's also a $17 bundle where you guys can get my peptide encyclopedia, which peptide does what. But the one that I have, there's a peptide for that, natural alternative to meds, and as well as bioregulator and peptide protocol dosage guidelines. That's a $17 bundle. All of this is available to you guys at dianecase.com/peptides. And you can decide what's going to work for you. You can get the free downloads with exactly how to take peptides. Again, that's not medical advice. It's just general advice that you guys can consider if you're buying peptides. They tell you when to take the peptides, how long to take them, what you might be able to stack them with, if they're injections, how much bacteriostatic water to add, what purpose do they serve, and the same thing with the bioregulator. So that's the free guide that you guys can download, and that will also put you into our email list, and then you guys will get notified before anybody else does with sales, as well as flash sales like Longevity Labs just had, as well as other things that we can't say out there. So anyway, we hope you guys join us there. So let's keep going. I also want you guys to just remind you, this is what RFK mentioned, is that they want to go after he wants to, at least. It looks like he's a good guy, but who knows with politicians. I don't think any of them are truly good people. Maybe they went in with good intentions, but once they get into the big boy, big girl club, they get kind of eaten alive, and they can't help the way that they intended on, right, when they first jump in. So he wanted, his intentions were the FDA's war on public health is about to end. Psychedelics, peptides, stem cells, raw milk, hyperbaric, chelating compounds, ivermectin, all of the things that we saw during COVID, that it can't be patented by pharma, right? But we're already seeing right now that there are peptides, some of my favorites, have been pulled out of our public access, like SS31. Retatrutide is probably next. In fact, Q1, it's estimated to no longer be sold by anybody, but we'll see what happens. As well as VPC is under research right now, so that they will likely pull that because they can patent it by pharma. So exactly what Bobby Kennedy talked about, this coming to an end, we're watching it in real time be the opposite. It's coming to an end. So while people are out there promoting Trump and saying, he's going to reduce prices on medications, they're still taking these peptides away from public access, and they're making it only available through big pharma, and then increasing the price. And you guys are going to see on several of these slides exactly what I mean by that. So they might leave some peptides, and then we can still purchase research peptides through Limitless, as well as bioregulators through Promethean. They're different. I'll get to that in a second. But they're still taking a lot of these big ones that are making a lot of money for the peptide companies. They've used the research that we have been kind of like the ones that are advocating for it, making reports. People are seeing benefits from it. I'm telling you right now that any peptide that is the most popular, that's most well-known, that you've seen the most benefit from, is probably no longer going to be available to you to purchase as a research peptide through companies like Limitless in 2027. It's 2026, January, where I'm recording this. We're already seeing a lot of people are going to lose their ability to sell peptides for making claims, which could have even just been reporting the research, right? So this is a very big gray area. So I would be very mindful to not promote politicians who are on your side, and just think about yourself, think about doing what you can, not pedestalizing other people, and not looking at peptides like a magic bullet, like I mentioned, but practicing like what we talk about in the ministry, we recommend, if you're going to be taking peptides, that you do it on a bed of foundational medicine and environmental medicine and healing as well. Looking at your environment, what's poisoning you. Peptides are not going to fix that. They can help to mitigate the inflammation, the damage is happening inside. But if you're still living in a toxic environment and you're still eating shitty foods and you're still in a toxic relationship, no peptide's going to fix that. Addressing the root would be look at all of the things that are affecting you and infecting you, and addressing those so that peptides can do their job to ignite you beyond where you are now. Otherwise, if you're taking peptides and you're not addressing the roots, you might just stay where you're at or maybe get 10% better. Sometimes peptides will give you the confidence, the power, the energy, the clarity, especially the brain regulating ones, to get out of the environment that you're in, to have the courage, to have the confidence, to have the money, because maybe you can work better now because your brain is clear, right? But use them as a bridge, but commit yourself to also living as clean of a lifestyle as possible so that peptides can work even 5 to 10 times better. I'm not making any claims. I'm just saying that that's what we see in our own, clinical results. If you guys want to explore becoming a patient, dianekaiser.com/patient. That gets you on the schedule. I think we're 2 months out booked. So if you guys are an urgent case and you really want to be seen now and you're very serious about getting support and you're ready to invest the time, money, energy into doing the work that we teach, you can email support@dianekaiser.com and let us know after you've applied and got yourself on the calendar. We'll see what we can do to bump you forward. So anyway, let's move on to the next slide. Thank you, Paula. This is one thing I mentioned earlier. And, you can see Bobby Kennedy talking about 60% of Americans have one dream: to make it through the day without chronic pain. So we see a tremendous amount of people who are numbing the pain, not getting to the root of the pain. And believe me, I have been a back pain sufferer my whole life. So I can totally feel your pain. I mean that with empathy and compassion and experience. But what's happening is, as I mentioned earlier, Western medicine solutions don't treat the root cause, and they cause more problems down the road. Specifically, what I mentioned earlier is insulin resistance. The common side effects of repeated cortisone injections, for example, which is what most people do to get out of pain, or corticosteroids, they apply those things on their skin for skin inflammation, skin infection. That's not going to get to the root of the problem. It's only going to perpetuate it by turning off your immune system, and it's going to make you more insulin resistant, which is the root cause of why you gain weight, why you're exhausted, and all of your hormones to be resistant. It could be ghrelin or leptin or oxytocin or sex hormones like progesterone or estrogen, or also cortisol, all of these hormones, melatonin. If your body can't cell signal so that the hormones your body is making can get where they need to go for them to work, then you are in massive insulin resistance territory. And this is where GLPs can shine, because they can address some of these issues, especially retatrutide, which is why they're pulling it from public access and they're going to make it a drug. So I'll talk about that today in Q1. I'd get on this as soon as you can. But cortisone injections, instead of looking at the root cause of what's causing you pain in the first place, which I'll get into with the slides today, causes tendon weakening, cartilage loss, joint infection, nerve irritation, and skin thinning. So talk about aging, more pain, MS, or any autoimmune disease related to nerve irritation and inflammation. Joint infection, which results in needing to have parts installed in your body, to have surgeries, and then you can't work out, and then it's this whole cascade of problems, right? And for me, I know I had done cortisone injections myself with my back pain and other pain I was a professional soccer player, so I'm just kind of destined for a lot of pain. And I did what was necessary for me to jump through the litigious hoops, because I had been in a car accident, and they made me take, in order to actually prove that I needed to take these cortisone injections for pain, they made me take them in order to win the case. So I know that they're all in bed together, right? Politicians, insurance companies, doctors, and lawyers, everybody's in bed together, and they're all profiting from our weakness and our illness and our dumbed down state. So we become more and more and more dependent on their drugs. So this episode is all about helping you understand what's happening in 2026 and beyond, and also what you can do now to take back control of your health, to understand what's making you sick to begin with. Okay, let's talk about the regulatory landscape. What's changing now? And as I mentioned, a lot of popular peptides used for healing, performance, and longevity, but specifically BPC, CJC 1295, TB 500, AOD, and MOTS-C, they're not approved by the FDA, and they're still labeled as research chemicals and can even be prohibited from compounding because they pose safety concerns. Because, just because you see the word safety concerns does not mean it's not safe for you. It just means that the FDA is trying to scare you away from peptide compounds that are available under air quotes research purposes only from companies like Limitless or what used to be from Jay Campbell's company, BioLongevity, which they're not selling injectables, maybe temporarily, maybe permanently. But they try to scare you away by saying that they pose safety concerns because they're not approved by the FDA. There's a lot of people, and you're probably not one of my followers, if you say this, if it's not approved by the FDA, then it's not safe. You're probably not right for my audience. Maybe your mind will be changed after you hear the things that we talk about in the VIP group and the people who are getting their life back and their pain is resolved and their energy increases and they get their sleep back and their relationship and their family and everything changes and they see hope again. And when you're in there, you're going to hear other examples, if you join us for the after party, of other people talking about getting their life back. So Paula, make sure you move to the next slide. I'm talking about the next slide. The regulatory landscape was changing now. I'm going to move on to the next slide now. So anyway, just so you guys are aware, that's what I do hear a lot of people saying is, oh, they're research peptides. They're not approved by the FDA. Well, what does the approved by the FDA even mean for you guys? For me, it means that look at all the medications that they have been handing out like candy in the last 5 years, including COVID vaccines, saying they're fine. I did my last podcast of 2025 was all about black box warnings and all the medications that have associated black box warnings, but you were probably not made aware of them before you took the medication or the shot or whatever it was. And then now they're coming out with black box warning 5 years later with COVID shots, or they might not, who knows? They keep changing their mind about that, but they're playing games, right? So can we trust them or can we not? I'll tell you right now, you fully put your trust in the FDA and you think that just because something says approved by the FDA, it's safe for you, then you probably need to learn over and over and over again until you finally have a wake-up call that goes, oh, they've been poisoning me this whole time. And then you look back in your whole life and go, wow, because you hear from maybe a doctor like myself that says, here's the side effects of this drug or this injection or this pill or whatever it is. And you go, nobody told me about that. And then you wake up and go, okay, now I'm realizing why I need to take matters into my own hands. So the Safe Drugs Act and the compounding crackdown, what's this all about? A new bill was informally referred to as of last December, actually came out in November, as the Safe Drugs Act of 2025. It aims to tighten federal oversight of compounding pharmacies and outsourcing facilities that produce peptides and peptide-like drugs outside of traditional FDA pathways. The essence of the proposed change is this: regulators want to eliminate gray market supply channels that manufacture or distribute non-FDA approved peptides at scale, a trend accelerated by the GLP shortages and demand. That was happening big time in 2024. Compound pharmacies were not able to prescribe tirzepatide because they, air quotes, had a shortage. And so the only way that you could get it is by getting it directly through a doctor like Mounjaro or Wegovy. So then you had to pay like $12 or $1,500 a month if your insurance company did not approve it. So while this specific text and passage status of this bill may vary, and it still also is in committee in Congress for all we know, the regulatory intent is clear that legislatures, they want more restrictive compounding rules that reduce unapproved drug circulation. So GLP-1 agonists, this is the main reason why they got to this point. Next slide, please, Paul. There we go. The FDA has warned companies that are selling unapproved GLP product versions, including sema, Terz, and retatrutide, even when labeled for research only. So I mentioned this earlier, there are people that are probably going to jail. They have felonies out because they're simply doing what they have been able to do before. And sometimes we don't know what these people said. Maybe they didn't speak out of line. Maybe they did commit fraud. Who knows? Maybe they, were doing things that they shouldn't have been doing and were warned and they just kept going. We don't know that. But the bottom line is that you're not going to be able to purchase peptides the way that you did in the past, especially GLPs. So any kind of, and this is what they say, right? And the whole Safe Drugs Act is that companies marketing them without FDA approval risk seizures, injunctions, and legal action because they are being sold as drugs for human use. I will never say a peptide is a drug. And that's the difference. Some people might be rewording it. I don't know. But example, outlets promoting compound versions of retatrutide. I have been talking about retatrutide. I talk about my social media. You look at social media, you look at YouTube, and you see tons of people talking about retatrutide. They've been cited by the FDA for violating drug approval standards because retatrutide is not an FDA approved and it does not meet compounding exemptions. So these crackdowns aren't isolated. The FDA has issued warning letters to multiple companies for selling these products, and some pharmaceutical companies have been sued, unauthorized sellers, to protect their intellectual property and market exclusivity. So up until November, retatrutide was not owned and produced by the FDA. There was no drug for it. But now they're taking it away from our ability to purchase it through research peptide space. And they're saying, now that's ours. And in retro, they're going after these companies that were selling retatrutide. So this is the gray area that I was referring to, right, before this. Okay, let's talk about next slide, price pressure and doctor-only access. What's going to happen is that it's going to go from open access of peptide purchasing to physician gatekeeping. Again, that's going to be through an MD. So once peptides are really sold online through research chemical channels like me and through Limitless with minimal oversight and also by Longevity Labs, the landscape is shifting in fast so that when a compound transitions from unregulated and research only to recognized as a drug, the FDA mainstream supply chain typically require what you're seeing right here. FDA approval, prescription oversight by an MD, distribution through regulated pharmaceutical or compound pharmacy channels. And what's going to happen with that is that it's going to raise the cost due to research and development, manufacturing standards, quality control, and physician involvement. Even though they're not going to educate you at all about lifestyle and why you had insulin resistance, which I've talked about a lot on this podcast alone. They're not going to tell you that insulin resistance is caused by corticosteroids and immune modulating medications like prednisone. They're not going to tell you that. So the GLP class is a live example. Approved drugs like Wegovy, Ozempic, Mounjaro, and Zepbound currently cost hundreds to thousands of dollars per month through pharmacies or prescription programs, which is extremely more than the inexpensive research source products we're selling online. And I'm going to get to a few slides. So let's look at the next things, and then I'll start showing you exactly what I mean by price changes, right? Access changes that you should know is peptides are going to move behind medical channels. So what does that mean? Once peptides are reclassified as drug products, no longer merely research chemicals like we were able to purchase on Limitless or by Longevity, unregulated online sales can legally disappear. And this is going to impact the ones I referred to earlier. Popular research peptides like UPC, CJC1295, which is a human growth hormone secretagogue, which is helping a lot of people who are having a hard time with their metabolism, building muscles, sleep, getting skin tonality, growing their hair back. This human growth hormone is extremely important for all of your hormones, all of your sex hormones, and CJC1295, ipamorelin, tesamorelin, all of those things help that. And these are currently in legal limbo or prohibited from compounding, but we could still get these from Limitless. So if it's on the website, you guys can still purchase it, but they could take this away from it at any time. You could literally be buying BBC every day, and then overnight it's gone. So do not wait any longer to start working with peptides, because we have it available now. I've been saying this for 2 years. They can take it away from us at any time and then mark it up extremely high. So GLP-1s or GLPs at all are no longer going to be sold without FDA approval. And any peptide marketed with therapeutic claims is outside of an approved pathway. So I also have to be very mindful about what I say on these shows. Again, it's not medical advice. And even when I am your doctor or the Chi Ministry is supporting you, we still tell you that this is all what you're taking, and you're looking at these things as opportunities. And it's always a risk. Even if you work with an MD and take peptides and something happened to you, like these people who are going blind, which I'm going to show you in another slide, you can't sue them. They're unsuable. They're all protected. So anyway, this is all, you take matters into your own hands and you know what you're getting into, especially with peptides. The prices are going to be changing. Okay, next slide. Looking at right now retatrutide, and I've been talking about retatrutide for a long time. It is my favorite GLP. It is GLP-3. It works with glucagon, glucose receptor sites, insulin receptor sites. It works with insulin resistance. It works with your hunger signals. It works in the brain and works with neuroinflammation. I can't make claims. Again, I'm being very cautious about what I'm saying, but you could find all the research, even on ChatGPT if you wanted to, on what retatrutide has done. This is why they're going to be gobbling it up as a drug. Currently, it's just a little over $100 a month if you want to buy it through us with Limitless. And Paula, if you want to flash the VIP link on the bottom where people can sign up for the VIP for free with Limitless, you just put your name and email address in there, and then you'll have access behind the paywall to be able to purchase retatrutide. Still, I'd stock up on this while you can, because even our non-premium retatrutide that's just a little under $100 for one vial is out of stock. Right now, what is in stock is a 6 milligram weight, and it's the premium grade, which means that it's just a little bit more pure. It's like 98.5 versus 99% pure. It's in the bacteriostatic water as well as the peptide itself. So 98.5 is still really good. So get whatever you can, 98.5 or 99% pure. But even for premium, you can purchase, this is about 1 month worth of peptides worth of retatrutide. If you're injecting 2 milligrams per week, then this is going to last you for 3 weeks. If you start with a lower dose, like I always suggest people start a little bit low, like 0.5 milligrams, and then work their way up, it's going to last you a little over a month. But the bottom line is you could buy 2 months worth of this for about $200, right? DianeKaiser.com/purchase peptides VIP is the link if you want to get access to retatrutide while you can. And then use Chi Ministry for 15% off, making it less than $100 per month. Just make sure you're always adding bacteriostatic water to this because it's just the powder. And when you go to check out, it'll prompt you to buy bacteriostatic water. If you're confused about how much to use or how to do all of this and reconstitute it and inject it, we have lots of resources for you guys on DianeKaiser.com/peptides. Like I mentioned earlier, you can get this peptide protocol dosage guidelines and more free guide on exactly how much bacteriostatic water to add to this powder vial, and then how much to pull your needle to, and how much to use per week and for how long, as well as what the peptide itself does. So you can get that for free. And then if you're somebody who will never inject, I'm going to be talking about that next with the things that are in the more safe space, because they're going to take away a lot of injectables this year. We have no idea which ones, but we know GLPs are. You could also download this for free, which is the bioregulator peptide protocol dosage guidelines. We love Promethean. We use them. They're capsules. They're actually not, they're small peptides, but they're still under the supplement regulation. So they're not part of the Safe Drugs Act. And so I would download this guide too and work with bioregulators and peptides at the same time. Bioregulators that are in capsule form, there's 21 of them from Promethean. You can get them on DianeKaiser.com/peptides. I'll talk to you more about what they are in the VIP group if you guys would like. But basically, they bring your organs up to ideally close to 100% function. They bring you back to rest. They kind of like a car restorer that restores your car back to original. But peptides that are injectable, the things we talk about, like with Limitless, bring you above that. So some people taking injections, their body isn't ready for it. We need to get the organs optimized first. And that's why I like the combination of bioregulators and peptides. Bioregulators, I like to say that they're the feminine healing aspect of your body. And then the peptides are like the masculine warrior, which bring you above that and can turn you more into like a fat burning machine, a metabolic engine, somebody who is really able to push your body beyond your limits. So the link is below, you guys, if you want to look at Promethean as well as the coupon code. Okay, let's move to the next slide because I want to show you what's coming and what solutions I will be offering. Not Ozempic and Zepbound because there are lawsuits, but there are going to be a lot of compound pharmacy companies that are coming out online. There already are several of them. You may have heard of them. You might see influencers that are promoting these things. Unfortunately, if we do get to this point where you can no longer purchase retatrutide, and we will know this, and I will always make sure that we keep you informed on our email list. Sometimes we can't say it on social media because people have been getting their social media accounts shut down and their YouTube channels. So I'm always very cautious about what I say anywhere. We talk about that in our email list. I'm not recommending Ozempic or Zepbound, but if and when, and it's more like when, we can no longer give you guys access to purchasing retatrutide on your own through places like Limitless, which I just showed you, then I'm going to have other company recommendations for you so that you can purchase GLPs compounded. These would be things like tirzepatide or semaglutide. I like tirzepatide better than semaglutide, and I definitely like retatrutide better than tirzepatide. So soon the companies that I will soon get behind will have retatrutide. They're still working on it, but we're in that phase of transition right now. So my bottom line recommendation is if you want retatrutide, get it now while you can, because when it does get to the point of you have to get it through a compound pharmacy, either online or if they make a drug out of it, which they're talking about doing, the prices are going to go up tremendously. So if you just look right here and you can see tirzepatide, it's $269 from $269 every 4 weeks. And I just showed you guys how you can get retatrutide, which I like better, for less than $100 for every 4 weeks. So this is 2.5 to 3 times the price. And then semaglutide, you can get it compounded for $180. We used to be able to sell it to you guys through Limitless, but no longer. You know, these things are changing all the time. So, but look at this. Ozempic is semaglutide. A 4-week supply is $1,300 if you buy the drug, but it's $180 if you buy it compounded, because Ozempic is semaglutide. But look at the difference in price there. How much they mark it up. It's either $180 or $1,300. But yet I still know so many people who are buying Ozempic. Why? Because people are programmed machines, and because you see it out there, people are talking about it, celebrities are doing it, people are jumping on board, they hear their friends doing it, they hear it helps them lose weight, but they don't even realize they can get it compounded for $180. a month instead of $1,300. And then Zepbound, which is tirzepatide, it's $1,400 for a month supply versus $269. I'm not yet here where I'm going to recommend this company. I still have to get on board with them. But for now, you guys can still purchase retatrutide. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide because I want to show you guys, this is what it looks like if you're, because of the other one I showed you the image of, is if you were on more of like a billing cycle of buying more than every month, right? If you're buying every month, it's $250 billed every month. A lot of people can't prepay before. And then this other one, which is oral, which doesn't work as well as injections, you could buy it for $280 a month. Again, retatrutide is less than $100 a month and it works way better. So let's talk about the side effects because I really want you guys to see that there are a lot of side effects from these things. Tirzepatide first, I wanted to show you guys that you can get tirzepatide in capsule form. I'm not advocating this yet, but I'm just showing you guys what's out there. Paul, let's go to the next slide, please. So I can show you guys what tirzepatide looks like. The price on that, $340 for either oral or injection per month. Again, retatrutide you can get for under $100 a month right now, and it's a GLP-3. Tirzepatide is only a GLP-2. I have a lot of people who were on tirzepatide before, and they were like, I had extreme stomach pain. I just felt off. I was exhausted. And then once you got me the retatrutide, I felt so much better. It's like a super drug. Why isn't everybody on this? This is what I hear constantly from a lot of my female friends or patients. And I'm like, it's because it's not the mainstream message and people don't know that it exists. So they think tirzepatide is the only option, or Wegovy or Mounjaro or Ozempic because it's the mainstream message. If it's the mainstream message, it's probably not good for you. If someone like myself is talking about it and how to get access to other things that are healthier, it probably is, just as a consideration, right? I'm just telling you what my experience has been working with patients. Okay, now let's look at the next slide because I want you guys to see, just as a reminder, quick fixes harm, not help. So we've been seeing Ozempic creators hit with a $2 billion lawsuit after thousands of people have gone blind, face stomach paralysis, intestinal blockages, gallbladder disease, pancreatitis, and or kidney damage. And the main one being thyroid cancer, right? So GLPs, this is not to scare you guys, but it's to aware you guys that if you're just taking a peptide for a magic bullet and or if you're getting it straight from the FDA, you're not going to get it wrapped up in lifestyle modification and the root cause reason why you're overweight to begin with, which I've talked about already a lot. Another warning, 1,800 users recently went blind after taking Ozempic. Multiple lawsuits were filed against, arguing that Novo Nordisk, I never can say that right, say it like 10 times fast, did not properly warn patients. Ozempic, again, that's the black box warning, right? Did they tell anybody about this when they were prescribing it to patients? Most of the time they don't. They're not legally mandated to. It's on you guys. You guys need to look out for yourselves, and eventually we all learn. I did the same thing. I had my Achilles tendon ruptured after I took Cipro, but I didn't know because my doctor didn't tell me that there's a black box warning when you take that mainstream antibiotic that is the number one most prescribed medication for antibiotics in the United States. And I took it, and then my Achilles tendon ruptured. And the black box warning says Achilles tendon rupture. But they'll make it sound like it's very rare, but there's still a black box warning. And then we all think when we take these things, even if you did see a black box warning, you might be like, oh, well, it's only 0.9% of the population, so it probably won't happen to me. The odds are good. Well, but you know what? What if there was other alternatives? That's my point, is that if you do want to achieve what they're saying that Ozempic and Mounjaro can help you with, which is weight loss, you can get it right now. Do it while you can. Get retatrutide and or Sloop, which I'm going to be talking about in the next slides, which is just capsule form. Do it while you can, and then address the root cause reasons why you're overweight or exhausted or obese to begin with. And then you won't need these peptides as much, right? You won't need to be medically codependent on them, right? So also, Ozempic causes reduced blood flow to the optic nerve, which is one of the main reasons why we're seeing people go blind, triggered by rapid blood sugar drops. That's blood sugar dysregulation, which these GLPs claim to fix, right? Quick weight loss and vascular stress, which can lead to sudden blindness. Now, that is the problem with semaglutide. That is the problem with Ozempic, is that it slows gastric emptying. Yes, it does other things too, but retatrutide does far more than that. So I recommend that, as well as looking into Sloop, which is what I'm going to get into in these slides. Okay, so that's just a reminder of a warning for you guys, but let's talk about why we need peptides. Remember, I was talking about the main root cause reasons why we need them, and now I'm going to start flying through these slides because I want to get to the point, which is which peptides do I recommend. The main reason we age, degenerate, and break down is caused by 4 things. It's not bad genes. It's not just broken signaling. Your body runs on thousands of peptide signals every day. We make 8,000 of them a day that we know of now that tell cells when to repair, burn fuel, calm inflammation, heal tissue, regenerate organs. As we age, as sleep worsens, inflammation rises, and metabolism breaks, of course, we're being hammered with toxins from chemtrails and these weird fogs and parasites and these pathogens that were made in labs and being injected in us and sprayed into the skies and put into our food and our water supply. These signals decline, misfire, or shut down. So the next thing to understand is that these 4 main reasons that we age and degenerate, which is inflammation, the body's stuck in attack mode. That's not the root cause, it is the symptom. Remember, we're not just chasing fires and putting out fires, we're asking who are the arsonists, right? That's the pathogens, the parasites, and the poisons and the programming. So inflammation is one of the 4 reasons we age and degenerate rapidly. Insulin resistance is another one. I talked about that a lot today. Sugar stuck in the blood instead of the cells. Number 3, circulation problems. Oxygen and nutrients can't reach tissues. We saw that during COVID, right? People were oxygen starved and they were giving them vents because they were oxygen starved. A lot of people were dying because they're on a ventilator. And they were saying, oh, they died because of COVID. No, they didn't have oxygen nutrients that were bringing to the different things that we need in our tissues, like vitamins and minerals and hormones, etc. Oxygenation. That's a huge problem. We have people getting clots all over the place and dying of heart disease and strokes, my dad almost being one of them. And then the final is cell communication breakdown. Organs stop talking to each other. And this is what peptides can come in and fix. So remember, like IICC, inflammation, insulin resistance, circulation problems, and cell communication. Those are the 4 main reasons. So I'm going to go into a little bit more on this next slide, why modern humans are losing repair signals. 88% of adults are metabolically unhealthy. Insulin resistance shuts down repair, immune, and longevity signaling. Over 60% live with chronic inflammation, which blocks cellular communication and DNA repair. And no, an anti-inflammatory is not going to fix that. It's just going to turn the noise down. That's it. Peptides will fix the root cause as well as your lifestyle and your choices in your environment, cleaning that up. Nearly 70% don't get restorative sleep. Maybe you sleep, but you don't get restorative sleep, right? Maybe you slept 8 hours, but you're not actually getting restoration. No deep sleep equals no growth, immune, or cleanup signals. Brain blood flow declines up to 48% with age, which means cells can't respond to signals they never receive, which is where peptides come in to help. And this is what we talk about in the VIP group after this. I hope to see you guys there. It's only $1 for your first week. Join us and ask all the questions you'd like. And then lastly, 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women will develop cancer. You've heard me talk about this ad nauseum. Chemo, radiation is not going to fix it. The actual odds of chemo and radiation actually treating and fixing your cancer is 98.6. That's the failure rate. That's it. But yet so many people are choosing chemo and radiation because they're afraid, because they don't know this slide. They don't know how to fix it at the root, or they can't be bothered, right? You guys will keep getting cancer, or it will keep coming back, or you're odd. Look at these odds of getting cancer if you don't do something now. And this is why I'm not here to sell you anything. I am here to help you guys become your own best doctor and to take self-care into your own hands, because that's the best healthcare. So disease rises when inflammation, insulin resistance, circulation loss, and cell signaling breakdown persists. Those 4 main reasons we age is also the 4 main reasons that you get cancer, autoimmune disease, heart disease, strokes, etc. The issue is not effort or genetics, it's lost biological signaling. So the result of all of this, when inflammation stays on, insulin stops working, circulation slows, and cells stop communicating, you get heart disease and clogged arteries, high blood pressure, stroke and vascular dementia, cognitive decline and Alzheimer's, cancer risk increases, type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome, hormone collapse and thyroid dysfunction, chronic pain and autoimmune disease, fatigue, depression and burnout, accelerated aging, and early death. These are not separated diseases. They are outcomes of the same broken systems and the 4 issues that I just talked about. Aging is not a lack of effort. It's a loss of biological instructions. Okay, so now let's start getting into cancer is a disease of broken biological signaling. Again, it does not begin as a random event. You don't catch it. It's not just, inherited from your genes. It develops when these 4 core regulatory systems lose control. And I've already went over all of this so far. So you guys can pause this and listen to it again and see what I have on these slides. Why circulation is not everything. Why circulation is everything. If blood can't flow, then healing can't happen. So let's move on to the next slide. Poor circulation leads to heart disease and stents, brain fog, dementia, Alzheimer's, erectile dysfunction, cancer, hormone failure, slow healing, autoimmune collapse, and accelerated aging. Blood vessels are the highways of life. So how do we fix all of this? The solution is peptides. So instead of managing decline, which is what healthcare does, which is insurance, what insurance does, which is what medications do, let's restore regulation. Can you guys get on board with me on that? Does that not make sense? Like, let's use logic here, right? Not just medications. That's where peptides change the game, and this is why the FDA wants to take it away from us, because we are a threat. Peptides are a threat to their bottom line. Peptides are not the trend, they're the missing instructions. So let's look at what people don't know about peptides. Is that your body, like I mentioned, uses thousands of them every day. Modern life disrupts peptide signaling. I mentioned that already. Repair signals are strongest during sleep. Inflammation blocks peptide communication, and therapeutic peptides don't replace the body. They reinforce and restore signals the body no longer expresses clearly or consistently. So we bring the noise back so the peptides can actually do their job to sell signal. I want to get into and just finish up here with the top 5 non-injection peptides to consider. This is for you guys who at some point you might be like, either A, I don't ever want to inject, or B, they take our ability to use injections, like what we have already seen with BioLongevity and Jay Campbell. You can't get them from him anymore. If all of a sudden overnight you can't get injectable peptides, I want to give you 5 right now because I'm holding a crystal ball and I'm saying, I see the future. I don't want it to be correct, but if it is, here is your insurance, the top 5 peptides that restore immune regulation and slow degeneration that are in capsule form. This is awesome. Now we've got Epitalion, KPV, GHKCU, SLOOP, and MK777. Each of these are a holistic approach to reigniting and re-engineering the cell signaling in your body so your body can do its job. Epitalion can help to your cells repair correctly, regulates aging, and maintains immune oversight. It restores cellular timing, DNA repair, and immune rhythm, especially for people who are doing chemo or radiation, or who want to avoid it, or who are on 5G towers and living in big cities, or are flying a lot, or are pilots or flight attendants. The Epitalion is amazing. I start off a lot of our patients with this because they actually need help with their circadian rhythms and DNA repair, and their immune system is dysregulated or overworked. KPV is one of the ones I tell you and tell everybody, I would always have KPV at home. It is I can't tell you it's the instead of antihistamines or anti-inflammatory or corticosteroids, but it is amazing at inflammation control and immune balance. Get it now while you can. You can get it in capsule form, intranasal, which most of the intranasals are good for the brain. Injection form works very quickly. So if you have a histamine reaction, if you're doing a parasite cleanse, injecting KPV will calm things down significantly. It reduces chronic inflammatory environments that drive degenerative disease. GHKCU is copper. Copper peptides are amazing to work internally to heal the body, to make you more beautiful from the inside out, also to reduce fine lines and wrinkles on the outside. It's amazing for vascular integrity, tissue repair, skin resilience. Don't take this from me. This is all in studies. I'm not making any claims. These are coming from actual studies. And it supports healthy blood vessels, structural repair, and normal cell turnover. SLOOP is what I would highly recommend you consider. Instead of GLPs, if you either don't want to pay that amount, if it's going to not be available unless it's through compound pharmacy, the price is extremely high, etc. If you never want to inject, SLOOP has a lot of studies for supporting insulin sensitivity and metabolic balance. It improves energy use and reduces metabolic stress that fuels degeneration in studies. I've seen this in our own clinical experience with working with patients and members. And then MK77 is new. That replaced MK677. It is a human growth hormone secretagogue in capsule form. I'm so excited that it just came out. You don't have to inject anymore if you've been shy about that, but it supports deep sleep, nighttime repair, and recovery signaling by restoring repair rhythms critical for strength, vitality, and longevity. The bottom line is these peptides help your body regain immune protection, energy, and vitality. When regulation returns, your whole body becomes far less hospitable to degenerative disease. Okay, now I only have like 5 minutes left here. So I'm just going to go through these and just tell you that this is going to be something we continue to talk about in the VIP group. Epitalion, where it's made from, it's made in your brain. And we have so many people who their brains are so toxic that they can't signal it anymore. The reason it drops is because of poor sleep, blue light at night, which is why I'm wearing these glasses by Raw. And you can go to my dianecaser.com/shop page to see which company I love for this, as well as to get a coupon code to purchase these. I love them. I use them as sunglasses because I actually want the sun in my eyes and to protect me from the blue light, which is destroying your body's ability to make Epitalion. The root cause resolved is the loss of body's internal timing system that controls repair, hormone release, immune defense, and cellular cleanup, as well as your circadian rhythm. It's like resetting the body's master clock, so every system knows when to repair, rest, and regenerate. So Peptide is amazing. This slide is here for you guys so you can see diseases and symptoms that it supports, which I call the health hell, and also with the health heaven, which the net effect is. So there's medications that may help you avoid or reduce, like Ambien, Lunesta, and also hormone replacement drugs or immune suppressing medications like prednisone or certain metabolic longevity prescriptions. So these are just things to consider, okay? Insulin resistance is one big thing that epitide can support, as well as the other things I mentioned, like insulin resistance. KPV is actually made from your gut and immune system's natural messaging that tells inflammation when to turn off. But most people's guts are destroyed. Lots of antibiotics, lots of pesticides, glyphosates, seed oils. That is what is destroying your gut and immune system's ability to actually make this. And the reason it drops is because of what I mentioned. Also, mold, parasites, chronic stress, toxins, and autoimmune overload. So when you take KPV, the root causes that it resolves is the immune system that's stuck in attack mode, which we call autoimmune disease. Go back to the previous slide, Paula. Or also things that are driven by chronic inflammation and tissue damage. It's like taking the immune system out of fight mode and restoring intelligent control. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. So the things that it helps to work with, that it could support, and again, not medical claims, but this is what the research is showing, because this is what peptides have been doing. Medical, this is research peptides have been showing in studies that things like KPV will possibly support and fix the health hell, like autoimmune conditions, chronic pain, gut disorders, skin inflammation, joint issues, brain fog, vascular irritation, and the medications that it could help you prevent needing as much of. I already mentioned this a lot, steroids like prednisone, NSAIDs like ibuprofen, which is a fluoroquinolone that can also rupture your Achilles tendon or any tendon for that matter. Immune suppressing drugs, chronic pain medications. Look at all these options, you guys. The first thing that you're told is to take a medication, but who told you about KPV, right? The net effect and the health heaven is that you can reduce pain and inflammation, heal the gut, calm immune reactions, and feel more at ease inside of your body. So this is huge to know this stuff, right? GHKCU copper peptides, it's made in your blood, saliva, and healing tissue. And levels decline with age, which is why we look older and why we see our skin thinning, aging, wrinkling, etc. It drops because of aging, oxidative stress, mineral depletion, and liver overload. And the root cause resolved for taking it could be breakdown of blood vessels, connective tissue, and structural integrity. It's like repairing and strengthening the roads oxygen, nutrients, and hormones travel on. So diseases and symptoms that could support the health hell: heart disease, poor circulation, slow wound healing, skin aging, brain circulation decline, and fragility. Medications that may help you avoid or reduce would be circulation supporting medications, certain cardiovascular drugs, wound healing prescriptions, fragility related medications. Did your doctor talk to you about this before they prescribe these drugs to you? No, because they don't make them money. But you can buy these now for a fraction of the price, less than $100 for GHKCU. You could still buy it now. They possibly can take that away from us anytime. They took it all away from Jay Campbell, right? Net effect, health heaven. So you could support heart and brain health, improve circulation, heal tissues faster, and maintain a youthful structure. So talking about cancer specifically, I wanted to put this one out there. People are afraid of skin cancer. GHKCU and skin cancer is protection through repair. The real problem is skin cancer risk increases when the skin can't repair UV damage, regulate inflammation, maintain healthy cell turnover, or clear abnormal cells. Sun exposure alone is not the issue. Broken repair instantly is. And this is where GHKCU comes in and supports skin protection. It's amazing. It can reduce chronic skin inflammation, promotes healthy cell turnover, supports DNA repair after UV exposure, and strengthens skin structure and barrier integrity, improves microcirculation to skin tissue. It's like giving the skin an active repair crew instead of letting damage accumulate. And this is where I've heard people say, you could just take GHKCU as a peptide in capsule form, intranasal, or injection, and you actually will have beautiful, like brown skin instead of like red skin and being afraid of skin cancer, right? So the last couple I want to talk about is SLOOP. SLOOP is made from and designed, signaled in your movement, exercise, and fat burning. The reason it starts dropping is sedentary lifestyle, insulin resistance, and chronic inflammation. When you take it, the root causes the result is your cells lose the ability to burn fuel efficiently and default to fat storage, but that is fixed by SLOOP. And we've seen that in mice studies. It's like teaching the body how to use fuel again instead of storing it as fat. The disease and symptoms that it supports, what I call the health hell, is weight gain, fatigue, blood sugar imbalance, metabolic syndrome, brain fog, and low motivation. The medication pass may help you to avoid or reduce blood sugar medications like metformin, GLP drugs, weight loss prescriptions, any other GLPs that you guys might have to pay $1,200 to $1,500 a month for, or stimulants used for energy. The net effect is you could have steady energy, improved metabolism, better insulin resistance and balance, and easier weight regulation. Now, here's the thing. We have seen in my studies, and I'm just about to go over an hour and then I'll head over to the VIP group, that mice were able to lose 12% of their body weight in 1 month without changing anything. No more exercise, no diet changes. They didn't change a thing, but they lost 12% of their body weight in 1 month. I'm not saying that's super healthy, but I'm saying that is the potential of taking Sloop. I take it myself. It is truly amazing. It is an exercise mimetic, and mice increase their endurance and their ability to work out for longer. It's truly an amazing capsule-based fat burning and metabolic resistance fixing peptide that you can also consider instead of injections. And it's less than $100 a month. Get it from Limitless. We've hopped all our links, you guys, and Paula's find the link down here, dianecaser.com/peptides. Take 1 or 2 capsules a day. And lastly, let's talk about MK777. That is a human growth hormone secretagogue. It's made from a signal from nighttime repair hormones released during sleep, restorative sleep. And it drops because of poor sleep stress, again, blue light exposure, inflammation, and aging. And what happens is that you'll have loss of growth, repair, and recovery signaling needed to maintain strength and vitality when you're not making it. But when you do take it and supplement with in capsule form as a peptide, it turns on, it's like turning on the overnight repair crew back on while you sleep. And the possible diseases and symptoms it supports, which I call the health hell, is muscle loss, weak recovery, chronic fatigue, hormone decline, poor sleep quality, physical frailty. And anybody who's on a weight loss, fat burning program or peptide, I tell you, you must consider taking a human growth hormone secretagogue like MK777. The other ones like CGC, IPA, or testosterone, those are injection form, but you can now get it in capsule form, MK777 through Limitless. This is a newer one. It used to be $677, but it's amazing. And I don't recommend you take any GLP or go on any kind of weight loss protocol without also taking a human growth hormone secretagogue like this. So it also can support not needing medications like sleep medications, muscle wasting support drugs, energy stimulants, and certain hormone support prescriptions. The net effect is the health heaven. So you can sleep deeper, recover faster, maintain strength, improve vitality, and feel resilient again. So let's just wrap this up. How the top 5 peptides I talked about today in capsule form support a healthier cancer-resistant terrain, because it's not just all the benefits I talked about today. These things can also help restore all of the things I mentioned here: inflammation control, immune balance, cellular timing, healthy cell turnover, insulin sensitivity, metabolic balance, sleeping and actually restoring, immune surveillance. You don't necessarily need to take all 5 of them, but this is a really powerful way to stay away from the oncologist, from needing to, being a part of the odds, 1 in 3, 1 in 2 men and women getting cancer. And all of these reasons are why it matters. It works to fix the root cause of one of the 4 things, which is why we get sick and age fast, which is cell signaling. And we have chronic inflammation, we have insulin resistance, and we have circulation problems. The takeaway is that these peptides don't force growth. They restore biological control. When regulation returns, the terrain becomes far less hospitable to cancer. So it's like, if you want to reduce your odds of getting disease of any kind and also feel better and look better and have more energy and confidence and sleep better, all of these peptides, those 5 I talked about today are a very well-rounded approach to address everything. So if you guys want to download my guide for free, it's dianecaser.com/peptides. You guys will be able to get this document, the peptide protocol dosage guidelines, and more. Or you could buy my course or the bundle for $17. The course is a little bit more than that, but you have everything that you need for injections and combining peptides, etc. We also have, if you guys want to join us after this for the VIP group, it's on dianecaser.com/peptides. Also join us for $1 for your first week in the VIP group. If you'd like to become a patient, shop peptides, or if you also want to buy the course, you do get your first week in the VIP group included with that. And then just show up every Wednesday at 2:00 p.m. Eastern time every week, like we do here. So that's going to be a wrap, you guys. I went over a little bit over an hour today. I'll see you guys all in the VIP group after this, but this is the landscape. This is what's changing. It's a gray area. We don't know. So assume today is your last and get what you can right now while you can with the peptides I talked about today. You already saw the prices are going to change significantly, and they can take away our access at any time. So if you have not prioritized your health, your body, your life, this is obviously the time most people prioritize it is in January, when people make fake New Year resolutions and in 2 weeks they don't care anymore. Peptides will help you care more because they're going to help restore the root cause issues, why your confidence is low, why you feel like you're flat, why you don't feel like you have the confidence or the care. You have to have energy to care. You have to have energy to have confidence. You have to have energy for clarity and consciousness and clairvoyance and everything. So peptides could be the missing link you've been looking for to get to the other side of the bridge, like the one in my background image here. I'll see you guys on the other side in the VIP group. I hope to help you guys there and more, and for the rest of your life, and at least for the rest of 2026. All right, you guys, see me on the other side. I'm Dr. Diane Kaiser. Share this with everybody you know, because the peptide landscape is changing, and at least this will help you take matters in your own hands today, if not tomorrow. But we don't know. See you guys next week. Bye for now.